Oh, hi. Oh, sorry, wrong mask. I'm Pat Kroth from Verona, Wisconsin, near Madison. I'm a contemporary fiber artist, and I was fortunate enough to be at the Hidden Studios art tour last year at Sharon Fujimoto's glass studio. It was a blast. This year, I was going to be hanging out with Paul Klein. Hi, Paul. Hope you're doing well. Anyhow, I create contemporary fiber art. I make my own fabrics by hand dyeing, cutting, and tearing them into small bits. So the garden series that you see behind me is comprised of small, tiny little bits of fabric that are layered on the surface. I work flat on a table or sometimes even on the floor. I keep composing until I have a garden that I really enjoy. I climb up on a little ladder sometimes and look down to see how the composition is developing. Once I'm happy, I iron it in place gently, and then I take it to the sewing machine and I start stitching. I sew most of my quilts by machine using a combination of colored threads, variegated threads, and sometimes clear monofilament thread. This piece was stitched with many different colors of variegated thread. I just kept stitching and catching every little piece of fabric on the surface until I was done. Here's an example of what it looks like close up. I've hand cut each piece, and in this case, I've stitched with clear monofilament thread. It has a slightly different effect, but I really enjoy it. I never know exactly where my work's going to take me, but I'm always open for a new adventure. Hi, I work here in my home studio in Verona, Wisconsin. Here's another look at a garden piece. It's about 27 by 25 inches. It's all hand-dyed fabrics. I hand dye a background, and then I layer the surface with tiny bits of fabric, and then everything is layered and stitched. I don't have a plan in my head in advance. I just start playing with color. Sometimes I'll go into my closet and cut up a shirt or a blouse that I haven't worn for a while. I also frame some of my work, and I've been known to incorporate lots of different objects in my work as well. Some of the other gardens I've been exploring use candy wrappers, pixie sticks, vegetable bags, chunks of netting, and of course fabric layered in the background, cut like a collage, tiny bits of fabric that are layered across the surface. I iron them in place, and then I stitch the entire surface using variegated threads. I also use all kinds of things in my work. Some of my explorations have been with candy wrappers, buttons, paper clips, and all sorts of things. Lately, I've been playing around with garden seed packets. Here's some sweet basil. The entire paper seed packet has been stitched to the surface along with other fabrics and other found little objects. I also use garden seed packets of flowers. Here's my bachelor buttons. Layered, stitched with some netting on the surface, and maybe a few other things. So I like to play with all sorts of found objects. I never know exactly what's going to end up in my work. I thought I'd share a few more of my framed works with you. This is a rather large wall piece called Ribbon Play Fiesta. Celebrates dancing and playing with the gymnastics ribbons. I taught and coached gymnastics for almost 20 years before I started focusing on making my own artwork. I was originally a painting major as an undergraduate student and thought, oh my goodness, I need a real job. So I was in gymnastics, and I ended up completing my degree in gymnastics, coaching gymnastics by day and making art by night. I was primarily an abstract painter and printmaker, and then drifted into fiber after a friend invited me to take a quilting class. So these are some of my garden pieces. They range in size from 25 by 21 inches framed down to about 9 by 9 inches. So I do like to work really large, as in my large wall quilts, but I also like to work on a very small, intimate scale as well. So these are wood frames. And depending on the piece, I frame each piece a little bit differently. Once again, here we have some of the playful handy wrappers, found objects, and items that I like to use in my work. Vegetable bags, there's some Skittles in here, Starburst wrappers, Dum-Dums. So I just keep playing with my work. I never know exactly where it's going to go, and I think that attitude of playfulness probably came from my years of coaching, playing with kids, and hanging around upside down probably. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate you stopping by to visit me at the Hidden Studios virtual art tour. October 3rd, 4th, and 5th in memorable 2020. Many of us who do art fairs have had a pretty challenging year, but it's also created some great opportunities to create new work and to learn some new skills online. That's always a blessing. Some of the other work that I've been involved in over the years has been doing surface design. The quilts you're looking at right now are all created using a process called sun printing or cyanotype. What I do is I start off with white fabric, then I dye the fabric a variety of colors. Sometimes it's brown, sometimes gold, or sometimes multicolored. Then I treat the fabric in the darkroom using a combination of photochemicals to make the fabric light sensitive. That means when I put it outdoors in the sunlight and place objects on the surface, in this case leaves, they leave a shadow behind as the sun interacts with the chemicals in the fabric. Then I wash everything out and I have a permanent print in the fabric. It's sort of like magic, and you don't know exactly what you're going to get until you rinse that fabric out. So in this case, I took maple leaves, I layered them on a gold fabric, took it out into the sunshine, and as the fabric developed, the area that was exposed to the light turned darker, the area that blocked the light kept the original colors in the surface. Then I wash everything out and I layer it. In this case, I layered a border of fabrics around the edge, and then I stitched the entire surface. Once again, I machine stitch using a combination of different threads, and there's also a little bit of bling in here, of course, the metallic thread. You've got to have that. I also make hand-dyed silk scarves. So here's an example. Once again, I start with white silk. This piece was dyed gold, a combination of yellow and gold dyes, then treated in the darkroom, exposed to light with ginkgo leaves on the surface. Then I wash everything out to remove excess dyes. And these are all washable. Just roll them up in a ball to travel and they're absolutely wonderful. So I've been playing with this process for probably over 10 years and I'm always surprised by the results that I get. It's just a great adventure. Thank you so much for stopping by the Hidden Studios virtual art tour, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.